All right, hello everyone. Today I'm gonna go to the gym. Gonna go do a back day. It's currently snowing outside and I hope I don't die while driving. But we're gonna go to the gym, probably gonna hit a back day. Gonna come back to the house. Today I'm gonna talk about my gap year and what it meant for me doing a gap year, why I took a gap year, and I'm gonna tell some stories about my gap year, and they're super funny. But yeah, my gap year was a very, very formative time. I just got back from it like a month ago, and it was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy experience, a crazy trip. I went to 13 different countries in Europe, and a lot of people in my school were sort of like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I really want to do a gap year, or like they were asking me a whole bunch of questions. So I thought I'd make a video talking about what I did, some stories about my gap year, and really how ultimately it formed who I am right now. And I'm really glad it did. I think everyone should be taking a gap year because I think spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on college right out of high school is completely and utterly stupid. I'm going to college in a few months, but I'm so happy I took the gap year to sort of form my own opinions on matters that were important to me. And so I could get more cultured, so I could be my own human being, really, and learn how to live on my own and all that sort of stuff. And I'm gonna go into all of that when I get back to the house from going to the gym. But it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I just did my first sort of work block for the day, making some softwares with Claude. So gonna go to the gym, do a back day. One of my favorite days, I'd say. I did a leg and cardio day yesterday, and then I did a chest day before that, so only fair that I do a pull day or back day today. I've really been loving going back to the gym. On my gap year, I didn't go to the gym really until I went to Asia, which was sort of my last month of traveling. I went to the gym pretty much every single day when I was back here, and now I'm going to the gym every single day again. And if you aren't going to the gym, 100% start going, because it changed who I was. And I was a super, super scrawny kid growing up, not a lot of confidence, and just going to the gym, even seeing little progress, it's been super informative for me because it's built discipline for me, and it's also built a physique, which I really like. And it makes me more able to help my parents with whatever they need me to do physically, or it helps me with doing like cardio as well, and just helps me get healthier. So I really love going to the gym and getting back into the gym. They don't let me film at the gym that I go to, which is a real bummer. I would totally show you my workouts, but today, doing a back day, I might show you my workout split on screen when we get back to the house. But yeah, let's go to the gym and let's hit some back. Oh, back from the gym. I did some back, and I usually do cardio on the stair stepper or on a treadmill, but I didn't end up doing that today. But the topic for today is my gap year. I took a gap year for 6 months, and I traveled to 13 different countries, and I had a very mixed experience, both very, very good and very, very bad. And I just want to talk to you guys today, just in case you guys are wondering if you should take a gap year and if that's something that's right for you, and what I'm doing right now after my gap year and what I did during my gap year. So let's dive right into it. Before my gap year, I decided that college just wasn't for me. And at the time, I didn't want to go to college at all. I was super, super set on not going to college and taking a year to sort of build up my business knowledge and quote unquote make it and not have to go to college ever again. But of course now I'm going to college and that didn't happen. So what happened? Well, I started in Copenhagen and I was basically just having a good time. I was getting the hang of everything and just sort of experiencing what it was like to travel alone for an extended period of time. I stayed in Copenhagen for a week and sort of got to know a lot of people through my hostel, through going out to pub crawls and stuff like that. And I got to showcase some of my video knowledge by, I went on a free pub crawl because I took video for them, which was super fun. So that was sort of me showcasing some of my film expertise and sort of getting an exchange of equal value with that. So that was very fun. From there, I went to Hamburg, and in Hamburg, I did a workaway. So a workaway is basically you go and you stay at someone's house and you do chores for them, and they let you stay there for free, and you get free food and free activities and stuff. And that was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was in Hamburg, and I stayed with a family in a very, very nice house, and we played tennis, and I did gardening work for them, and I cooked as well. But that was overall a great experience. I stayed with them for a week again. And then after that, I took the worst bus ride I have ever taken in my life from Hamburg to Warsaw. And I don't know why I wanted to go to Warsaw. Well, actually I do. I wanted to go to the East more, and I was in talks with a nonprofit in Ukraine that I wanted to take video for. And the way that it just all worked out, basically it didn't work out because their system was super bureaucratic and I just didn't have time. And so the bus ride to Warsaw was terrible because it was, I think, 11 and a half hours, and I was sitting right behind the bathroom, and someone very early on had blown it up. So I was sitting having to inhale all of this terrible smell, and as well I got super car sick, and I needed to stand up and go to the front of the bus and look out the window, otherwise I would have hurled everywhere. So that was terrible. But then I got to Warsaw, and that was super fun. That's when I first started to feel lonely because I had been traveling for 3 weeks at that point, and I was alone. I met some cool Spanish exchange students, and we went out clubbing, and that was fun. But I don't know, at the end of the day, I just didn't feel great because I was alone and I was getting quite lonely. And then from Warsaw, I went to Prague. And Prague is sort of where it started to all fall apart for me. I was there for about 2 days, and then my mom called and I was talking with her, and I just absolutely broke down in tears. I had no idea what to do. Throughout this whole time, I was filming travel content. You can see that all throughout my YouTube channel, and you can see the Warsaw video, the Prague video, stuff like that. But I was super lonely and I had no one to turn to. And I was the farthest away from home I'd ever been without someone with me. And I just felt terrible and I didn't know what to do. But my friend was coming to Europe to travel with me for a while. And so I hopped on a plane and I went to where he was and where he was flying into, which was Amsterdam. And from Amsterdam, we had an amazing time. We stayed in Amsterdam for about 3 days, and then we stayed in Rotterdam for 3 days, which was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. I met 2 really cool people who I ended up traveling with in Asia, who you can also see on my YouTube. But that was super fun. Then we went down to Lille, France, and then Lyon, France. We spent Halloween in Lyon, France. That was super fun. And then we went to Switzerland, and Switzerland was one of the most beautiful places I have ever been. I stopped posting videos from, I think my last video was Prague. I think that's what my last video was. But we went to Paris before then, and I was planning on making a whole series for where I was going, but it just didn't end up happening. I didn't feel motivated enough, and I was just sort of enthralled by traveling. And so in Switzerland, that was amazing. I stayed with another workaway with my friend, and we hiked a huge mountain, and that was super fun in the Alps. And from there we went to Milan. I did not like Milan because I don't know why I didn't like Milan, but it was just sketchy. There didn't really have a lot going for it. And then from there we went to the south of France, and the south of France was my favorite place by far, just based off of experience. Switzerland was the most beautiful place we went on the trip, definitely, but for, I don't know, pure just having fun, and I don't know, it was my birthday, so the south of France and Monaco was super fun. Filmed a lot of videos there. That's where I started getting back into YouTube and sort of making business self-improvement content, sort of a mix of the both. After that, I went to the north of France, and that's when I had the worst time of my entire trip. I talked about this in one of my other videos, so I don't want to get too much into it, but basically, again, just feeling super lonely, just a whole bunch of things not going to plan, and just feeling absolutely hopeless. and it was the lowest point I've ever felt in my life. My friend who I was traveling with had left to go to another workaway in the south of France, and meanwhile I was in the north of France alone again. So I was just feeling really lonely. It was gray. It was getting towards the holiday times, and I wasn't with any of my family. So I felt really, really terrible. And I kept calling my mom and dad, just basically expressing myself and crying to them and just basically saying, I'm feeling terrible about this. And then they encouraged me to go to London a week early because I was planning to go to London anyway. So I canceled the rest of my hostel, went on a bus to Lille, and then from Lille up to London. And London was the start of just having another just amazing, amazing time. So really going through the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows on this trip. But in London, I was still alone, but I started doing activities that kept me occupied for the day. So I went to museums, I walked around a lot. I had gone to London before, but I didn't really remember it. So I was walking around a ton and went to a couple of bars with the hostel, which was also super, super fun. And just having a great time overall. I spent 2 weeks in London, and that was probably one of the 2 best weeks of the entire trip. Then I went up to Scotland to see my grandma, and my whole family came over for Christmas. And that was super, super fun. And then I stayed on with my grandma a little bit after that. Then I went to Asia with the 2 people that I met in Rotterdam. And that was really fun. Again, you can see it on my YouTube. But then after Malaysia, where I had gone to in Asia after Scotland, I went to Vietnam. And in Vietnam, again, I was alone, but I didn't feel super lonely because, again, I was doing stuff. I was working towards my YouTube, stuff like that. And then I flew back through Qatar, which I'm happy I flew back when I did because otherwise I would not be here right now. But then now I'm back here. So if you're wondering if you should go on a gap year, I would say 110%. After everything that I said, yes, I had bad days, but I also had some of the best days of my life. I had more good days than I did bad. And if I were to do it all again, I would maybe one thing I would change would be traveling with someone the whole time. There's just something different about solo traveling. Solo traveling is really, really tough on your mental and even your physical because you have to carry everything around with you and you don't have anyone to help you if you need to. But yeah, traveling alone is one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, but it also taught me so many important things about adulthood, about just caring for myself, budgeting, and I got way more experience in my gap year than I ever would have if I was going to college. Which brings me to where I am today. I am going to go to college in August, and my whole family's moving to California, which is also a whole other thing that's pretty crazy. But what made me decide that I wanted to go to college again? Well, for one, I wanted less adventure. There were so many funny stories from when I was traveling and just so many adventurous things. I'll give you one example. When me and my friend were in the south of France, in Nice, we were staying at a hostel. And at that point, we didn't really see anyone that we really connected with in these hostels because it was the off season and it was mostly just older people. But we got to this hostel in the south of France and it was all young people. And we were stoked. I think the median age of the room was like 19. It was awesome. But then I think I stayed there for about a week and a half, and as the week and a half went by, less and less people were there and older people started to come in. And these 3 guys who didn't know each other at all were the worst people ever. I'll tell you one story about one of the guys. One of the guys was clearly a drunk, the drunkest person I've ever seen in my life. He would come in at night and just be like almost toppling over and just going to bed and wouldn't wake up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. So one night he came in and he had made a racket. So the guy behind me who was sleeping, who was a super cool guy that we met, who was from South Africa, he was a day trader, he was young like us, super cool guy. He was awake, and then he had made a racket and had
actually fallen over. And when he fell over, this guy who was behind me went to pick him up. And he was just so drunk that he just started peeing everywhere in the room. And my friend who was across the room just didn't even notice because he was asleep and he's a deep sleeper. I don't know. But then he just stumbled over to the bed. He was in jeans and just laid in bed and went to sleep. The next morning, it smelled so bad in that room. The staff must have come and cleaned it up because I was out. I was so tired. I didn't know what was happening. But that's just one instance of just the absolute craziness that happened on my trip. And I have way more stories, but it's one of those things that it's just so funny when you look back on that it sort of makes the whole trip worth it, you know? And again, I learned so many things about self, especially. I learned that I want to have less adventure and I want to sort of be stable in one place for an extended period of time and actually get stuff done. Because while I was traveling, I wasn't making a ton of content because I was just traveling around so much and I just didn't get into a rhythm. And I just really want to get in a rhythm now. So I'm deciding to go to college and I'm going for business and entrepreneurship. So I am going to be creating more content, of course, and I hope being a student doesn't take up all my time so that I fall out of making content again, because I love making content. Making content is one of my favorite things that I love doing. And so I hope I can keep doing that. But I just want to learn more. I want to keep learning. I want to keep learning what I love doing, because it's just been a really confusing time with so many different things changing in the world, so many different things changing within my own head, and just everything having to do with my life has just been changing so much that I just need to sit down, do some work, learn some more, become the person that I want to be. And I can't really do that if I keep traveling everywhere and just keep trying to find the next place where I am going to sleep, the next meal even. So that's why I'm going to college now, and why I sort of changed my mindset from I never want to go to college, I'm going to start a startup and I'm going to do everything and I'm going to become a millionaire. So, but yeah, my gap year was an absolute success in my eyes because it taught me resilience and it taught me perseverance and it taught me way more things that I could even begin to express to you all. But if you're ever thinking of taking a gap year, 100% do it. Because you're only going to live once. After high school, you're going to go to college, and after college, you might not want to take the gap year because you have a job or you have other commitments. So after high school, I think it's one of the best times to take a gap year and travel or work or do anything. Just take some time for yourself and make sure that you think for yourself. Because if you get more cultured and if you get more intelligent by doing these real life things, you get to make more educated decisions on things that are happening in the world. And you can form your own opinions and you can begin to change the world for the way that you want to be, for the way that you want it to be, whether that be your own personal world or the world around you. And so what now? What am I doing right now? Well, I am creating content. I'm posting on TikTok 4 times a day. I'm posting a video as often as I can on YouTube, and I am creating softwares. And I never thought I would be into creating softwares. I always thought, it'd be cool to create softwares, but I don't know how to code. But with AI now, you can code however much you want. And so I'm slowly building up my own personal brand, building up sort of my expertise in so many different avenues so that I'm not limiting myself to anything. Because there were so many different niches that I went through that because I've been posting on YouTube for so long, the algorithm didn't find a way to promote my content because I just went through so many different versions of the type of content that I wanted to make. But now I think the ones that are doing well on YouTube are the less edited ones, and the ones that I like doing are less edited. So it's sort of a good thing that I'm going down this path now, sort of just taking you guys along with me and just showing you guys what I love doing, I'm gonna show you guys how I make content. I'm gonna tell you guys how my camera rig is set up. I'm gonna tell you guys how I create softwares, how you can create softwares as well to solve your own problems, to become a one-person business, because that's the way that the world is going. Because of AI, you are going to become a one-person business, even if you don't want to. Your personal brand is something you already have. You have a personal brand, whether you post online or not. because the way that people see you, that's your personal brand. So now with AI, you can create stuff and you can become a one-person business easier than ever before. The barrier of entry is so low, and I want to help all of you do that, because starting a personal brand is the most important thing. And I want to build my personal brand with you guys. So you guys are very, very early on in this sort of journey, not with me, because I've been posting content for 3 years, but in sort of the follower count. So I'm at 1,000 subscribers and I have, I think, 190 followers on TikTok. So I think it's only a matter of time. And that's really what it is. It's only a matter of time. If you're posting as much as I am, it's only a matter of time until one piece of content hits and you can replicate that piece of content over and over, and you can start to build your brand and you can start building a livelihood for yourself based on the things that you love in life. Because I love cinematography. I love filming videos, I love scripting, I love making music, I love choosing music, I love making things look nice, look visually appealing, and I love doing business. I am going to school for entrepreneurship and business. So YouTube is the route to go down when you have all those interests. And so if you have any of those interests, I encourage you to do the same. Start posting TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter if you want, and don't care what anybody thinks of you. Because even though you may not have gone through the resilient time period that I had on my gap year, you are going to become resilient regardless. You're going to get hate comments. You're going to become resilient. And I think the fact that I went through the gap year made me take time and really formulate what I wanted to do with my life and really solidify that content is the way to go. Content is the future. And I really, really want to make it work for myself, and I want to make it work for you as well. So that's my 2 cents on taking a gap year and my sort of 2 cents on business and the future and everything like that. So I am going to leave you off there. My next video might be talking about social media, might be talking about building softwares, but you can definitely bet that I'm going to be continuing making content and continuing making value for you all. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.